Grazi and Page, it's Jason Jackson, and folks, you are in the bag, and you're welcome. It's episode 2 of season 1, episode 1. I'm gonna have to say it was pretty good. I mean, we came out the box okay. I mean, we're getting a lot of traction. There's a lot of views. We need people to watch, subscribe, listen, subscribe, and like. We're gonna get people into that mode. We're bringing a new group of people, possibly into the game of golf, but definitely into the game of podcasting and watching podcasts. How are you, sir?
I'm good today, so I could put on my shirt without pain, so I'm good. It's the little
We're
things.
gonna have to maintain that weekly to see if you're
We need to
if you're
increase. I need to get
yeah,
that. But anyway, we're working on that. I mean, if I'm going to play golf with Eves in May, my shoulders got to get better. So,
oh, Lord have mercy. Speaking of Michael Eaves, he will be our guest in Spotlight. He is ESPN's anchor of Sports Center, many other big events at the Worldwide Leader, including the Masters. He will be a part of Show Us Your Balls as well. Looking forward to his story. In the deep drive, it's official. I was waffling last week. It is officially the deep drive, the segment where we have IP solve a problem in golf. Ian, I'm not sure if you looked at the format. I'm sure you didn't look at the format. So let me say this. Course etiquette will be your challenge this week. Is it overrated? Is it underserved? We will have that discussion a little bit later. Our first edition of Rain's Session. This is where we will discuss equipment in the game of golf, trinkets, trending devices. But the Mizuno Pro M15 popped up in a thread this week, and it was sexual. I don't have a better phrase for it. It was sexual what happened in that conversation between John Butcher Grazi and Paige and yours truly. And I have 5 new takes for IP. Hot takes in the 19th hole. But let's start off by teeing off. IP, first off, I will always give you results. There's the PGA Tour starts this week, so we have no coverage. We got a couple weeks till we get to the ladies and the old guys. We will begin. I kind of jacked up the calendar last week. We begin with the DP World Tour this week in Dubai. I'm going to have respect for those who are grinding, trying to get their tour card. You can scoff with them as you want. But here's the problem, though, is that this week the Korn Ferry Tour started on Sunday, and I think they're going to do this for the first 2 weeks, if I noticed correctly, starting on Sunday, finishing on Wednesday. I don't know if you found a reason why, or the reason why, IP. I'm pretty sure you don't care the reason why.
I do. I'm just saying a lot of people don't. I'm a nerd. I'm into the details, but most people are not. And they're in the Bahamas, so there's an issue with travel and whatever. So there's that may have something to do with it, but
back-to-back weeks, by the way. They're going and staying. That's the minor league stuff, baby. We're here. We're going to do 2 weeks in this bug.
Well, it's kind of like Hawaii. The tour, you stay there because they got to travel and defray expenses and all that. Again, these guys are guys that nobody knows who they are. Let's be honest. So, I mean,
there's one name I have for you, though, in the grouping after the first round. By the way, kudos to J.M. Butler and Justin Sue sharing the lead at 10 under. A bogey-free 62 for young Mr. Butler in his Korn Ferry Tour debut. So finished 24th, I believe, on the points list last year. But when I was looking through the leaderboard after the first round, IP, 5-time PGA Tour winner, one of the coolest names ever, Camilo Villegas. In the field, tied for fifth, by the way, with a opening round 64. The grind is real in professional golf, sir. You know it better than most.
Is it ever? Is it ever? So he's had injuries and whatever, came out of Florida, great first few years, and then sort of, fell off, which happens in this sport like no other. Guys just disappear. Then he had some personal tragedy and some other things, but he's out there grinding because that's what they do. I mean, we're not getting into it, but there's a whole bunch of stuff. VJ is going to take advantage of a rule of a top 50 earner. He is going to be on tour this year at 62. He's going to probably get 20 starts.
I understand he has money, by the way. There's one of the great IP backstories, by the way. I got money, bro.
Money.
There are inside jokes on inside jokes, people. You got to keep listening to In the Bag to get it all connected.
I can't even tell you the full story on that,
No,
uh,
I bet he
but
won't go get some more money.
he's probably made 70 plus million,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just
What's
guessing.
it's just competitive drive, just because he
It's just, again, we
can.
talk about it like, you can't do that in the NBA. You can't do it.
Right.
But this is what they got. This is what they do. So he's
Yeah.
playing the Champions Tour, but if he can take advantage of a rule and get
Mhm.
15, 20 starts on the PGA Tour, he's going to do it because why not?
Yeah.
That's what he
Why not?
does. Then we got to play 50 events a year, and this is what he does. So a unique rule that he's taking advantage of, and it'll be interesting to see if he can, like, let's say, make a cut or be in the mix. I mean, I doubt it at 62, but he still hits it a long ways, and he might catch lightning in a bottle and maybe be in contention on the weekend, but we'll see. But just the fact that, again, we talk about the beauty of this game, just the fact that at 62 you can do that, be in the field at 60. I mean, nobody's playing NBA at 62 or the NFL at 62 or MLB. It's just not happening.
Right.
You know?
Right. Next headline, Kepka might be a part of that experience. By the way, IP, you called this
Might
from a
be.
mile away. You called this, might is the key component.
No,
But
he
Kepka
will be.
officially applies to regain PGA Tour membership, 5-time major, which, by the way, he can play in all the majors this year, but that's
Yeah, because the
not
PGA
a
Tour doesn't have anything
PGA.
to do with.
There you go. Yeah, departed Live last month. Has now made it clear he intends to resume his career as a PGA Tour member. IP did not believe nor buy, not believe. He didn't buy the story about the focus on family dynamic. It was just get the hell out of Live dynamic without a whole bunch of issue. And but now simply reapplying IP doesn't mean it's just a smooth way back in. First of all, the tour may dig in his pocket. And we'll see if it's in time to start when he wants to start, by the way.
Yeah, they definitely will. He has to serve some kind of suspension. And this is the first step, this is what I kind of mentioned last week, is that he'll be back. Whether it's this year, whether it's May or June, there'll be some deal cut behind the scenes that we'll never know the details of, just like his departure from Live. We'll never know the final details, but there'll be a money exchanged. There'll be a little reprimand slap, and then there'll be Brooks Koepka is back, and there'll be an announcement. He'll be, if he's not back this year, I'd be shocked. But he'll definitely be back full time by next year. I mean, the tour needs him. I mean, you need, those other tournaments need a 5-time major winner. They got to sell pro-am tickets. They got to sell things, and you also need a villain. I mean, he's not as much of a villain as he was, but remember a few years ago, him and Bryson. Sports is always better when you've got a villain, and he's always had that sort of chip on my shoulder. Don't get enough respect. Don't care what people think of me. And him and Bryson for a couple of years drove that narrative that people love to watch. So yeah, he's back. He'll be back, and probably sooner than most of us think or know.
Next headline, PGA of America CEO steps down. That was quick there for Derek Sprague. Yeah, exactly. Look at IP. Come on, baby. You're like, listen, the man is running the PGA of America. We don't know how to pronounce his last name. And then, by the way, just over a year in the role.
Not even.
This was yeah. Was it under? Yeah, it announced to move Wednesday morning. Did the PGA? It's based on his need to return to New York as his mother and mother-in-law need increased care. IP, will you let this be? Will you let the man want to take care of these old women, please, and not just stomp all over the fact? Oh, he's already rolling his eyes.
Yeah,
IP.
That's a statement. That was
Spruggy.
By somebody. I don't believe anybody's statements. Stop it. So he can do whatever.
It was a bumpy year. It was a rough year for the PGA of America.
It was a rough Ryder Cup. That's the real issue. So that was the issue. No, so not going in again. He's got again. I'm deep in the weeds. I know him. He's been at the TPC Sawgrass. He's got pedigree, but but the issue is, that Ryder Cup was a disaster. So that's why that had to go. So you can issue a statement, and I get all that. We know all that. All those statements, as we are actually led to believe that people actually say these things. Stop it. So, but we know that had the Ryder Cup been a roaring success, Derek Sprague would be still there. That's okay. But we're going to move on from that. We're going to try and fix that. And he had to take the fall for that. That's all. That's how that goes.
I understand the PGA Tour with all this infused money. They got what, 1.5 billion in some private equity dynamic. They're looking to purchase a piece of the PGA of America, be it purchasing the Ryder Cup or the PGA Championship. Your thoughts, if any, on
Yeah, I mean,
spending some of that 1.5 billion on that?
maybe they would. I don't see how the PGA of America would give that up unless the number is huge. I mean, those are their
Right.
two biggest money making kind of things. And the SSG Signature Sports Group, the people that put in that 2 billion, they want return on their investment. And that's why the tour has been doing all of these things, and that's what they want. When Live came around and they were panicking, they had to get some money, so they got it. The part, the difference there is that, as we know, when someone gives you 1.5 or 2 billion, they're like, "Where's our ROI? We want our money back." And then
And right now, by the way,
exactly. So we
that
saved
clock gets
you,
ticking.
but and the tour should be happy because they're playing for huge checks in these signature events. Guys would not have had that had it not been for Live. But yeah, SSG, they want their money back, and they're going to figure out trying to ways to get it. And a lot of it's going to be that whole rumored stuff. In another year, even less events, or did they start in February or March? And kind of, there's going to be a tectonic shift in how that schedule rolls out and how they play events. And they're going to be bigger, more rich events, and they're going to, the guys that are down that list, 125, those journeymen, that the tour won't be for them anymore. But that's the way it goes.
I got a blast from the pastish right here for our next headline. Anthony Kim working back through Live, which makes sense for those of you that are here because you love IP and Jackson and don't know this particular story. Our buddy, Mr. Kim, I had to fight some demons. All right. I mean, it's this man was a top 10 player in the world, returned to the sport. It was nearly 2 years ago after 12 years as he was struggling with drug and alcohol abuse. So you love the redemption story. The question, IP, is as he had to battle, I think it was for 3 wildcard spots in the Live Golf League promotions event. I know you had that on live. You had that streaming at the house. At 40 years old, he finished third among the 22 players who made the weekend cut. He was 5 under overall, as that man was demoted from Live itself at the end of the season and has to fight his way back in.
Yeah, because he didn't play well enough.
Yeah.
That's another great thing or bad thing about golf is, what did you shoot? What'd you do? I mean, it's just so, all this, again, we had all this hoopla about how he's coming back and going to be on this and all this. The guy's 40 years old, hadn't played in 12 years. So there was no way he was coming back and being in contention or winning. One of the best players that we'd ever seen for a couple of years, but time gets us all. He was away from the game for 12 years. And as you mentioned, had some other issues. There were other rumors that, he had a $10 million insurance policy, and if he ever touched the club again, that was gone. So there was all kinds of things at play. But I don't care who you are or how good you are, and he was definitely one of the better players for a while. If you take 12 years off from this game, you're not coming back, especially at that point, you're 40. You're not coming back and contending, and you're just not. So, I mean, good luck to him, but, he's an afterthought. Let's be real. Fun, good guy. Seems like he's gotten his life in order, but yeah, he ain't shooting 63, 64 on a regular basis, man.
Speaking of Ian Page afterthoughts, the fall schedule. IP told me, listen, you ain't got to put that on the list, but I'm going to anyway. PGA Tours 2026 fall schedule, 2 new events and a Mexico swing. So when the 16th President's Cup is done at Medina, we might have to find our way up there in September, by the way, IP, is that you have this 8-event fall schedule. We're adding in Asheville, North Carolina. All right, we're going to get up in them hills. And of course, it might be a little late because the buzz on Austin might be off a little bit, but Austin, Texas and then a 2-event swing through Mexico. Last Friday, the tour let us know we got some more goodies after most of us start diving into college football and the National Football League.
NFL, right? And that's what the fall series has been. It's been there, and it's for these guys who need to try to keep their card. It's for these guys. I mean, Scheffler played in one event last year, happened to win it, but these 8 events, again, go up against the NFL. And again, these are guys 100, 125, 150 on the tour who are trying to keep their card. A lot of guys even say, the Rorys and the Scotties shouldn't play in these events because you guys are already got your event. So this is stuff for, again, unless you're deep into the weeds and a golf nerd, you don't know these guys, you don't know these events. And the only real thing of note here, to me and anybody involved, is this event in Austin, not because it's a fall event, but because the title sponsor is Good. And for a lot of you people
Oh,
who
yeah.
are my age who don't know them, I'm aware of them. I asked Butch and Jax about them 3 years ago. And of course, they had never heard of them. I just found out about it. They are now, I mean, they're a bunch of 25-year-old guys, I think, who are frat guys who live in a house in Dallas. But they have merch and they have YouTube channels and they're doing all this. They're sponsoring a tour event now. Okay. So there's a lot that goes into that outside of just money. It takes you 12, 15 mil just to put the nut up for that. But you got to be vetted. You got to be able to do this and that. So the tour is now saying, hey, man, here's a bunch of 25 who, by the way, just got a $45 million Series A capital raise a couple of months ago.
Oof.
So now they got
Oof.
15 million to throw. So this is what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about changes and shifts, this is one of them. The fact that you got some 25-year-old kids basically sponsoring a PGA Tour event that's going to be on the schedule. And these guys are probably more well known in the 20, 25-year-old space than anybody ever would be. And all they do is play golf and make videos, and good for them. But that's the big, because again, they lost the match play event in Austin. So now they're back in Austin with a bunch of kids writing the check.
Come on.
I
Can't
mean,
wait to keep an eye on that one. In the bag should have like we should have a whole setup. We should be wide open with speakers on some hole acting crazy. I think we might be able to get it done. Antoinette, get on the phone. Let's get this done. Our show coordinator on notice right now. Our last headline and tee off. Europe's Big Five roundtable. So the Big Five in this group: Sir Nick Faldo, Bernhard Langer, Sandy Lyle, and Ian Woosnam, talking about so many things. A part of the centerpiece of this conversation. This is a long article. There's a lot of conversation. All five of them, the beautiful picture of all five of them when Seve was still alive with their Masters jackets on, and just talking about, how they grind through this game from Europe to America, just the travel, the washing of clothes in bathtubs, hitting balls with dented range balls when they're hitting on ranges back in the day, but playing in Europe and Africa and finding their way to the United States. But the story that jumped out to me is Bernhard Langer talking about Seve coming to him and saying, hey, man, that putter, yeah, that's not going to get it. You're going to have to change your putter. And Bernhard, probably by nationality and by stature is a little, like I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. It's my putter, it's my thing. But it was Seve Ballesteros telling him IP to do so. He changed his putter and won his first tournament on tour. Now, the user is the key in all of that, but there is something to when we look down that shaft to that club face. I don't care what club it is. It does have to feel right and look right before you can do right.
Absolutely. It's a very unique situation for everybody. I think a lot of people don't even know that we all have an aim bias. Okay, so when you look down and I look down, I can put a laser 6 feet from the hole and say, and cover your putter with a light that's aiming towards the hole and say, are you set up now? Okay, you feel good. And I can remove, and the laser will point. I mean, I don't know, but it's going to point. It won't point at the hole. It's going to point left or right. You don't know that. No one does, because you have a bias. And lines on top of the head, the way the putter is shaped will all influence how you look and see it. So if I change the head, change the line and various things, then I can get you aiming inside the hole. So if you can't aim inside the hole, how you gonna make the putt?
Come on now.
You're not. So anyway,
I might come inside door IP. I may be coming in now, with a slim shady.
Listen, if you're a robot, you can. Now I'm in the weeds on this. So Tiger, again, he's a robot, or he was a robot. He would aim 3 or 4 feet, sometimes right of the hole, and he would release the putter. But he would do it the same way every time. Most people don't do that. If you're going to aim that far right, you're not going to release it enough consistently. But anyway, so I think back then those guys used to do things where they, the way they, like you said, they would look at them. They had these bullseye putters. Now, if people are smart, they would go and they would get a putter fitting. The first thing you need to do is, can you aim the putter that you have in your hands, or the putter you want? And if you can't aim it within the hole, then you need to change to a different head, lines, whatever it is, to get you aiming at least inside the hole, so that we have a shot at that.
Back in 1980, it might have been eyeballing it, but Seve was the best putter of the time, and so
game wizard we'd ever seen.
Longer was paying attention. He wasn't offended by it. Bottom line is, Sevy told Bernhard, here's the deal. Your putter's too light. It doesn't have enough loft. It's rubbish, basically, was the quote. So after the change, he was third the next week, second the next, and he won his first event a week later at the 1980 Dunlap Masters. What a cool story. And that's us teeing off. Get off the TIP. This might be the best edition of Spotlight because Ian Page is having breakfast while we speak with ESPN's Michael Eaves. Eaves and I are exactly the same age, IP, so you're considerably older than both of us. But these graduates of 1990 high school dynamics, that'd be 94 in college. Did you waste any time, Eaves, at the University of Kentucky? You got in and you got the bleep out, and you got to work just like your boy.
I had 121 credits. You need 120 to graduate. I was ready to go.
That's what I'm talking about. Before we get into your life and living it in the world of golf, because you are history in the state of Kentucky as it pertains to golf, which is astounding, by the way. I can't wait to get to this. My favorite thing about the many things on your resume. But it's our first segment, and we simply want to know, sir, would you show us your balls? Show us your balls.
Oh, yeah,
yes,
sure.
You know what I mean.
Your
favorite golf ball. Yes. Push a little closer to your camera. Is that a Titleist?
It's a Titleist Pro V1.
Okay. Why do you play the Titleist Pro V1, Mr.?
Because I'm old, right? So old school, like the Pro V1 is the all-time classic. When that ball came out, it changed the game. And it just fits my game for whatever reason. Like I hit it a little spinny. And so I need something a little more penetrating ball flight. So I tried the Pro V1X for a while, but it's for guys who can't get it off the ground. I have no problem doing that. And this ball spins enough off my wedges, so I didn't need anything else in that regard. So it's an all-time class. I've tried other ones. I've tried the TP5. That's great off the driver, but it didn't come off my irons as well. It's very funny, speaking of TaylorMade 5. So I had my fourth hole-in-one about, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. So I'm out here on the golf course getting some rehab, and the best and worst thing just happened to me. What's the best thing in golf? A hole-in-one. What's the worst thing? Being by yourself and nobody there to witness it.
That's not even a humble brag, by the way. That was just a brag.
It's fine.
You just
and it was a TaylorMade. Only because, like, I was playing by myself. It's, almost winter here in Connecticut when I was playing. Right. I just took whatever ball I had on my bag and I was playing. And so I have it saved over here, but it's a TaylorMade. It's not a Pro V. It's in front of back of all I've got 4 hole-in-ones. I have 2 of the 4 balls, and neither one of them were Titleist.
So our boy Matty Shoes needs to find this on your Instagram, right? This is when you were playing by yourself, and
I was playing by myself, and
it was like, this isn't even
Jax, here's what's crazy. So I have 4 hole-in-ones, right? I've only seen 2 of them go in the hole, and that one I saw go in the hole, but I was by myself, so I didn't have anyone to witness it. Thankfully, there were some guys walking up a hole that was parallel, and as they saw me go up to the green with my phone out, one of my former coworkers said, "Yo, did that go in?" I'm like, yeah, it did. I was dejected. It was the saddest hole-in-one I think I've ever seen.
IP, have you seen one live? I haven't
seen one. Yeah. I'd love to just see one.
Wait, you guys have never seen a hole-in-one?
No,
not live.
Oh, that's
while playing.
Yeah, I've seen probably another 4 or 5.
Okay, wow.
You guys need to play more golf. I think that's what it is. You just need to play.
If I play more golf, Eaves, I'd be broke. Okay,
that's part of the addiction, dog. Just like gambling.
I didn't see it, but it happened right behind me about 2 summers ago. I was practicing, me and one of my sons, and there's a par 3 behind us, and so we hear the hit the stick, and the kid was playing by himself, and he starts yelling and running down, and he's like, "Hey, did you guys see that?" I'm like, "No," and I made a run. So he's just looking for some validation. I said, "Hey, great." Then he came back out and wanted us to witness it, whatever. But I said, "I heard something hit the stick. I guess it was you." So anyway, that's the closest I've ever seen it, even though I didn't see it, but I heard it.
IP, Michael Eaves, like those of us who grew up in the late 60s into the 70s and 80s, a multi-sports star. But he did something that most of us scoffed at in high school. he actually played golf while we were making fun of golfers. And Michael, I don't know why. I can't. I will never forget our first baseman in high school, a lefty, Bill Lockhart. He played golf in the fall, and we were all like, "What?" And by the way, every single one of us now play golf.
Yeah.
What drew you in when you were playing all these other manly men's sports to grab the stick?
My dad. My dad played.
Awesome.
He's the reason I started playing golf, and my dad was the manliest men. So it wasn't like to me you looked at golfers some type of way. I understood what other people did, but I played because he played, and as a result, I played junior tournaments even before I got to high school. Right, so it just became part of my year. I played all those sports, but I played golf as well. And so when I got to high school, it just made perfect sense to keep playing. The funny thing was, you mentioned baseball. Like, I played baseball. I was a first baseman. I was a catcher. And when I got to high school, my freshman year, I was going to do both. Now, in Kentucky at that time, golf was played in the spring. Right.
Oh,
so I tried to work out this deal with the baseball coach. I said, I won't miss any games based on the schedule, but there could be days I miss a baseball practice to go compete in a golf event. He's like, no, Michael, you have to choose. You can't do both. I was like,
I hate those. I
bet.
hate those coaches.
I chose golf, and I ended up playing basketball and golf, and I went to the state tournament my senior year as a golfer. And the baseball team they were okay, but they were never great. But yeah, for a coach to make a kid make that type of decision when there was a way to do both, like, why would you do that? Right, number one, and clearly I made the better decision. I was a better golfer than I was a baseball player, and it's worked out great. But for that coach to do that to a kid at 14 years old, just never made sense to me.
Baseball's boring anyway.
No,
it can be, especially if you
Here
got
it
a
goes.
bad pitcher on the mound. You're sitting there squatting behind the
Yeah.
plate for 7 innings. That was terrible.
Now you have a distinction, Yves, from being from the Commonwealth of
Yeah.
Kentucky. Even in the late 80s, you were breaking barriers in golf.
Yeah, so my senior, like, it's funny, 2 of the 4 years that I played high school golf, I was the only guy on my golf team, right? So we didn't have enough, no one wanted to play, so I would just go to the meets and just try to win, individual tournaments, get medalist honors, whatever. My senior year, I was pretty good, and we got to the regional tournament, and once you compete well in the region, then you go to state tournament. And I got hot that day, and I played really well, ended up qualifying for the state tournament as an individual. And I was the first black golfer to ever qualify for the state tournament at 18 holes. And that was spring of 1990 when I did that. And, when I was out there, Jason, I didn't even know I never even thought about it, quite honestly. At that age, you don't think about stuff like that. But the older I've gotten, the more I've appreciated it, just because of Kentucky was a southern state, and there were times that black people couldn't play certain golf courses. Matter of fact, growing up, I grew up in a place, Hopkins County, and the largest city in Hopkins County is called Madisonville. And Madisonville Country Club was the best golf course in that area. And before that senior year, when I was starting to get really good, my dad started to notice it. He inquired about joining the local country club. And this is one of the funny things about racism and how it evolves. They were going to allow me to play the golf course because they knew that I was really good. We could not, though, have full membership and then use the entire facilities, including the dining room. They were going to come up with this limited membership just so I could play golf there, and they could say that Michael Eaves, he played golf there. But my dad was like, yeah, we ain't doing that.
Nah.
So I just continued to play public golf courses and practice in my backyard. And, I went to state my senior year.
ESPN's Michael Eaves with us here on In the Bag. Ian Page, Jason Jackson. You and Ian have this wonderful distinction. Ian, for nearly a little over a half decade, covered golf every single day. As a part of your multifaceted dossier there at the Worldwide Leader. You do the very same, but you have that tradition in the spring. Oh, you get to roll down Magnolia Avenue. You find yourself You find yourself in the midst of all that history and dynamics. So first of all, there's 2 things. Walk us back to the first time that you were signed to cover the Masters and how that all went down, and then walk us through the evolution of being in that space on those grounds with those greats.
Yeah, I mean, I'm such a golf nerd. I know Augusta National and I've never even been there, right? Coming back when I first started ESPN in 2015, I just wanted to go. I just wanted to walk the golf course. I wanted to feel what I see on television. You know, how steep it is going down number 2, or how steep it is going up number 8, or how narrow the green looks at 12. Like, I've seen all the things, but I wanted to feel it. And so when I first got to ESPN, I made it very clear to everyone that I interviewed with and I met with that I'm a huge golfer and I want to be involved in any golf coverage, and that include the Masters. And so my second year there, Mike McQuaid, who's our VP of production right now, but he manages our golf coverage. He gave me the opportunity to go as part of the Sports Center crew, right? So I did some Sports Center coverage there, and then eventually over the years, I was able to get to the point where a position opened up after Tom Rinaldi left to become the reporter to do player interviews on the telecast on Thursday and Friday. And so not long after Tom said he was leaving, I made a phone call to Mike. And I said, hey, what do you think about me stepping into this role? He says, I hadn't thought about it. Let me consider it. I feel like it was like maybe 2 days later, he called me and said, you got the job. But every time I go, Jason, it still feels like the first time. I don't know how to describe it. Like when you walk into those grounds, it is just one of the coolest things you will ever experience in your career as someone who covers golf or as a golf fan that goes there. Like Scott Van Pelt and I like to call it one of one. Like there are other golf tournaments, other golf majors. There's only one Masters. For me, it's like going to the Kentucky Derby. Like there's only one. There are other Triple Crown races, but there's nothing like the Derby. So every time I go there, I still have this sense of awe that I'm at this palatial estate that has so much golf history. And then all of a sudden, oh, by the way, I'm on the telecast. And so every Thursday, each year when we first come on the air and they put up the little tombstone, as we call it, on the side of the screen showing the announcers, and my name is on there, like you can put that literally on the back of my tombstone. That in terms of things that I have accomplished in my career is one of the most rewarding. And I just wish my dad would have been still alive to see that, because we bonded so much over not just playing golf, but also watching golf. And one of the things we bonded over the most was 1986 when Jack Nicklaus won at the age of 46. And for me to be there now and meeting Jack Nicklaus and Jack Nicklaus knowing my name, like I just wish my dad could have experienced that as well, because he was the one that put me on that journey to begin with.
Yves and I have known one another since the beginning of our careers, and the beautiful intertwining of all of this over however many years it's been, 34.
A lot. It's
36, 36. We're going into our 36th year. It has been our friendship, of which IP has as well, with Stuart Scott, and God bless his soul. But the three of us are going to talk about playing golf with Stuart right now. And that was a whole another experience. Yeah. As we all know, Stuart, hyper competitive, wanted to be great at every single thing. It's been noted, and we're not making light of it, that Stuart's eyesight was one of the issues that held him. It didn't really hold him back. He persevered through it, except with identifying his golf ball.
Yes.
That was just always. It's IP's going to try to hold it back over there, but you would have to play your ball and his, and that was just part of the time in the round, Mike.
Yeah, like it's funny. We initially bonded over golf. The first time I met him was at NABJ in 1997. He was standing in an aisle practicing his golf swing, and that's like, yo, anybody doing that? That's my people. So that's how we met. And then we would come to NABJ, sometimes earlier and play golf or whatever. And so I knew he had eye issues, and then he had the one after he took the ball to the head off the jugs machine. So I knew it was getting worse. But you don't realize how bad it is until you're in that environment. And literally, the ball could be 5 feet in front of him, and he's just not seeing it. And at first I thought he was just like, I thought it was a joke. Hey man, you see my ball? You see my ball? You see my ball? I'm like, bro, it's right there. But then it was like, oh no, he really can't see. And to your point, Jackson, that's what I had to start doing. Is like, I hit my ball, make sure it is, and then I'm like just bird dogging his wherever it goes, and trying to drive right to it, and trying to. What I would also do, I try to put him in a position so he could see it, maybe before I had to point it out to him all the time. But that was part of the experience, and he also allowed us to joke about it too, which made it a little bit easier. But so competitive, and he just never got as good as he wanted to be. But I mean, none of us do, to be fair. But he always looked the part, though. I mean, who was a better dressed dude on the golf course than Stu was back in the day? I mean, he was the first to come fully suited in all the Nike gear and stuff like that. And he said, if I can't play well, I can still look good.
That was always the point.
Yeah.
Oh my God. God rest him, man. Before we let you go, I saw a spot recently. Prime spending all that money. That's the thing you can do when you sell light bulbs and reams of paper on top of having things stream on your platform. They're involved in the Masters dynamic. Does that impact ESPN's coverage at all coming up this
No.
year? Or they're just earlier in the day.
No, and here, I'm gonna give you a little people at home a little insight here in terms of how the Masters is done, which is different than the other majors. CBS produces all of the golf for the Masters. Thursday and Friday, it airs on ESPN, and you add me, Scott Van Pelt, and Curtis Strange to the coverage, right? But it's still Jim Nantz, it's still Frank Nobilo, it's still the CBS crew. We just sort of do this team partnership on Thursday and Friday that it airs on ESPN, and we add some ESPN talent. What's going to happen for those 2 additional hours on Prime? It's going to be the same ESPN crew. Excuse me, it's going to be the same CBS crew producing it. They're just happening to show us additional hours on Thursday and Friday. So for us, it's not really doesn't really change anything. And for everyone who works on the crew for CBS, it's just add an hour each day to their coverage. So it's not a big deal.
More money.
So yeah, I mean, it's a big deal for Prime to have it, sure.
Right.
And it's obviously another big deal revenue stream for Augusta National. But as far as the actual television production goes, it really won't do anything. Because we're already rehearsing doing that during that time anyway, so it's not like we're showing golf constantly. Once golf starts, we are showing golf internally there at the golf course because the media gets to see it in the media room and also in our production studios, but no one else is seeing that live.
So you're from Kentucky.
Yeah.
You like bourbon?
I do.
Okay.
Like if you grew up in Kentucky, like it's probably the first alcohol you had, whether you were legal enough to have it or not. I don't drink it as much as I used to. Now it's more of a fall winter drink for me because it's warm. And I like my beverages cold. So year round I drink tequila. But in the fall and winter months, I'll drink my bourbon. Except in May, if I'm at the Kentucky Derby, you got to drink bourbon at the Derby. That's how it is. But yeah, I'm a huge tequila drinker now. But yeah, I mean, I've got my bourbons and my favorites for sure.
Right. Well, it's that limestone shelf in Kentucky, man.
It is. And here's the thing.
Technically,
look. Technically, you can make bourbon anywhere in the world, right?
True.
It's not about where. It's not like champagne. It has to be from Champagne to be champagne. It's about how it's made. The difference in Kentucky bourbon, and he's very right, it's the soil and the limestone that's in there that filters the water through that gives it that very distinct taste. Like there's a place here that made some bourbon that they wanted me to taste, and I thought it was trash. There's Hudson Valley down in New York, I think is terrible.
Yes.
There's some made in Japan, and I'm not even trying to be biased. Like if something's good, something's good. I don't care that much. I don't own a distillery. But also since I grew up, I'm accustomed to that taste, and that bourbon from Kentucky taste is the best in the world. Just like, cabs from Napa or Bordeaux's, certain things are the best in the world because of where they're produced.
All right. So that's my next question. And when we plan, and when are we playing in Kentucky? Me and Jax and get a fourth, maybe Butch, and then we can do some distillery tours and some golf.
Oh, so I'm going for the Kentucky Derby. I don't know if you guys have been. If you have not been, you should go. Look, I don't tell people to go to Kentucky just for the hell of going, but I think everyone should go to the Derby one time in their life. Right, okay. And if you do, you should go in a day early and do a bourbon tasting tour. Okay. So through the V Foundation, I sponsor a bourbon tasting tour for people who win an auction item to go to the Derby. I'm doing it again this year. Okay. So that's the best time to go. And there's some tremendous golf in Kentucky. There really is, especially in the Louisville area. I mean, obviously at the PGA Championship at Valhalla, the PGA Tour event that used to be in Lexington moved to Louisville out of Hurstbourne Country Club. So there are a bunch of clubs there. That's the best time to go for sure, is around that weekend. And
all right. Put it on the
never
calendar.
Tastes better than on Kentucky Derby Day.
Early May, IP, my first guest on, we all are hoping that, our first guest ever on In the Bag, which was John Butcher Gross, Eves and yours truly in Kentucky. We'll fly into CVG, by the way.
Just do it.
Just south of my hometown.
CVG is the Cincinnati airport that's in Covington, Kentucky, but that's good.
That's it. Michael Eaves from the worldwide leader in the spotlight. See him on SportsCenter. We'll definitely see him in April on coverage of the Masters. Thank you, my man.
Hey, no problem, brother.
Appreciate you. Can't wait to see you soon.
Y'all be good.
Before we get into the deep drive, Ian Wardlaw Page is a board of director member of Jack's Fam Foundation, and he requires that I let you know that the chief initiative of that organization is called Get There, a full cost of attendance bridge that focuses on identifying elite scholars and making sure they get to the university of their dreams by providing a 4-year transportation scholarship, which covers airfare, baggage fees, and ground transportation. The scholars did and do all the work. Jack's Fam Foundation just makes sure they get there. For more information, log on to jacksfamfoundation.com. To the deep drive we go. Ian Page solves problems. That's what he does, okay? He may act like he doesn't care. He may say he doesn't care, but inside that iconoclastic soul is a heart of gold. That man will absolutely solve your problems. I have him solve problems of golf. Last week it was pace of play. This week, course etiquette. I'm a big fan, right? I love taking off our hats and shaking. I love watching your shadow, make sure you don't cast it in somebody's line. I don't really care about stepping in lines as much. We're not walking around dragging our feet and, having spikes on. But it's good if you can walk around or step over, series of things. The people who hush you right now, I want to punch them, right? Somebody comes over and tells me to turn my music down. You better bring a lunch. I might come around and clip your ankle with a 52 degree and say, sorry. You're paying too slow. I might one hop your ankle, by the way, off the tee. What are some key etiquette things that you're seeing that are evaporating? What's key in a round so that we're not, fisticuffing like the Canadians?
Yeah, well, the first thing is slow play. We talk about it, we can keep talking about it until it gets fixed. It's never going to get fixed. People are too selfish, but that's a huge problem. Pace to play. I think the other thing is just, small things. Leave the course like you found it. Okay, so why am I playing all these great courses that I'm lucky to be able to play? And when I hit my 7-iron to 10 feet, I get up on the green and there's 18 ball marks that are not fixed. Why is that happening? Because people don't care, so they know. So not just fix yours and fix a couple others, but everyone should be repairing their ball marks. Okay, because now it's going to take 2 or 3 weeks for it to heal and this and that. Also replace your divots. Okay, at least the court, so if you take a divot, put a little sand in it. I don't know why people don't repair their ball marks though. That's the thing that gets me.
It's a character issue, IP. It really
is. Yeah, it has to be. You know what I mean? Right. And it shouldn't, I don't care if it's a muni or if it's the most exclusive private club, to fix your ball mark.
And by the way, most of the time when you have a ball mark, of any significance, because you had a good shot.
Right,
relatively decent shot.
So look around,
use that as your celebration.
Exactly.
And get another one, by the way. Get yours and get another.
Right. Fix another one. Right? While you're waiting for everybody else to putt, because we get back to slow play because your partner's taking 20 minutes to putt, you can fix 10 ball marks. I think, pick up your tee. If you tee off and the tee pops up somewhere and you don't leave it there. That's not the way the course was this morning when you teed off. So pick that up. So all these little things about being a decent human being. Yeah, I'm a big deal with that too. You should do that. We're getting away from that. We're not civil to people anymore. So yeah, taking your hat off and shaking, good shot, all those things, but mainly leave the course as you find it. Because if I get into a bunker, I shouldn't have a footprint in there, right? If I get up to a green, I shouldn't have a bunch of pock marks up there, right? Because that's not the way it should be. It should be clean and pristine.
Where are you on noise? Where are you? You and I played other sports before we got to golf. So
yeah,
some people are weird about talking. Obviously, you don't want to just blare, but sometimes you're whispering off to the side and somebody will step off. I want to fight. Like, there's no way.
Exactly.
There's no way you hear me, Doug Todd.
Yeah, they probably. Look, they probably do. I'm fine with it, but I understand that people don't like that because it's kind of been that way. And so if everything's usually quiet and something pops out, it's unusual. If you're in the NFL and you're trying to kick a field goal with 80,000 people screaming, that, or trying to shoot a foul shot in the NBA, you're used to that.
Sure.
I think
nothing abrupt. Nothing abrupt.
Get younger, I think we need to say, yeah, man, you know what? Because my thing is always, you need to focus on what you're doing. I don't know what you're worried about. I don't care if you hear something or not. You need to focus on what you're doing. And that's hitting this particular shot and do it in a hurry. So focus on what you're doing.
Let's this is part of pace of play, so I think I know where you're headed here. When is honors a real thing? I am on it. We will not tee off before a birdie. Birdie boy, birdie lady gets to go up there. Otherwise, ready golf. Let's go.
Absolutely. I mentioned it
Okay.
last week. And most people, they ain't gonna have to worry about that because they're not making birdies. I mean, I'm just keeping it real, y'all. So so you're right. You don't have to just step up to the tee.
Yeah.
Unless you say, oh, you know what, Jack's made birdie. Oh yeah, yeah, my bad. And that's bad karma. But other than that, yeah, it's ready golf, you know, and
Let's address one thing that drives me nuts, and that's getting hit into. All right.
well,
You,
that's
you
another.
hit into me, I might come back there, right? And again, I've never been in a fist fight in my life. I just talk like I do. And if I don't come back there and you find your ball halfway through the earth, that's because I stepped on it because you hit into me. But what
Yeah. And
I had
that
a kid hit into me who said he'd never hit a ball that well. And I think that's got to be the measure, right? You say to yourself, if I hit this particular tee shot or this long iron shot up into the group in front of me, I'm trying to range this basically off of if I hit my best shot ever.
yeah, and if you happen to do
Either
it,
way.
you run up and you apologize. I think that's the next thing. I mean, usually no one's going to hit into us because we're playing fast, so we're not in anybody's way.
Right.
But if
Mhm.
that does happen, sometimes it happens when someone hits an incredible shot. And again, my issue would be if you don't come and apologize, then I'm saying what's
Mhm.
going on, you know, with
Right.
that. Did you intend to do
Yeah.
that?
You will
Or
say much more than what's going on. Okay. Let's be
well,
clear.
you know I
You
will
will,
because it
the
happened to me.
conjugation of MFer will start
Oh, that's
immediately.
yeah, because at that point, it doesn't happen to me very often because I'm moving. But if it does, it did happen to me. I told you about this thing last year at Rutgers. It happened twice on the same hole, a short, straight par four. You know, where
Mhm.
it's drivable basically. Well, for me anyway, not but for you know for 320. All
Yeah.
right, it's a
Bang it.
so somebody's over. You know, one guy I'm playing with has sprayed it way right. He's looking for his ball. I'm at the 150 marker, right? Talking to the other guy looking for his ball, and all of a sudden I hear doink, you know, look behind me and the ball is rolling up. I'm at the 150. So the hole's 320. So it's only 170, 180. What are these people doing behind me? So I don't see anybody coming up. So I wave like, okay, you need to, hey, I don't, you got to be able to see me and everybody else out here. So maybe it was a mistake. So other dude still hasn't found his ball. He's waiting for people to come up. You know, here comes another ball. Now I'm pissed. Okay. Because wait a minute here. So again, nobody's coming forward to say anything. So I'm walking, as you know I do, and I go back to the tee. And these people are like, yeah, we didn't understand. I said, you know what? Maybe I get that for the first shot, maybe, but not the second shot. The whole hole's 320 yards. Now you're not driving the green, but I'm at the 150. So I think you guys can hit it 170, 180. So what are you doing? But again, they just weren't aware. And I kind of tried to tell them. And I think that's the thing. We got a lot of new players and people at golf, so we need to help teach them that you don't do that. And if you do, like you say, you run up and you apologize, but you shouldn't have done that.
A glorious deep drive about course etiquette. Ian Page, he solves your problem. It's our first edition of Range Session IP, where we talk about all the really cool things in golf as it pertains to equipment and gadgets and trinkets and whatnot. I just sent the sensual picture, your golf porn, into our team WhatsApp so that Matty Shoes can get this into the YouTube edition. Sorry, Bryce, that you won't be able. I'm going to walk through this via the wonderful play-by-play skills I've developed over a half decade now. This is the Mizuno Pro M15 with a beautiful script in white on the back of the blade, right there. It just and that beautiful Mizuno logo on this iron, bottom left-hand corner, and it right in the background. I don't care if that's real grass or fake grass; it could be whatever it wants. It's just sensual. And IP got this response from me. Look at you sending porn. IP's response after a giggle. Maybe the most beautiful Mizuno irons ever. So bleeping sexy. Speed, launch, forgiveness. It's almost perfect. Ian Page, tell the people why you love Mizuno and everything they make as it pertains to these beautiful irons.
Well, I love their irons. I've played them. I think they're the only irons I've ever played, except the first little used set I got was
Mhm.
maybe some used TaylorMades when I first started playing. But they make beautiful irons. They're crafted with they're made in Japan. They're forged. and they're precision tools. I think a lot of people out there, you know, they're chasing distance, as we know, and manufacturers are now giving you distance. But I tell people with irons, you're looking for a precise distance. That's what, because you're trying to hit a flagstick, it's 160, 180 yards out. So, but Mizuno has always made beautiful irons. Craftsmanship is wonderful. Now you got to be pretty much a good player to play their irons, because they don't give you a lot of forgiveness or a lot of help. But these newer ones are starting to change that a little bit. So the M15 and the M13, which just came out, you know, this is the time of year, Jax, as you know.
Yes, sir.
This when they all come out with their new clubs every year. So it's January, then we get to the PGA show, and so they just launched. They were out in Japan 6 months ago. But the M stands for modern. So they've now made them. So now these are modern in that they are a player's iron, and they're small, they're compact, and they look like a blade. But in there, they got a whole bunch of technology. That's where the launch forgiveness and all the stuff that I talked about. They've got tungsten in there. They got chromoly. They got other stuff that I'd have to look at the website to help you launch these long irons, help you hit it, give you an incredible amount of forgiveness, which a blade wouldn't do. So it looks like a blade, looks like a player's cavity, which it is, but it gives you all that, but it's not a game improvement shovel that looks huge, thick, and clunky. You know what I mean? So,
AKA the stuff most of us use, people.
Exactly.
That's what he's just he's
it's
killing
not
the
gonna
porn
give you
mode right now.
as much help as that, but it's going to give you a little bit. And like even they say, why wouldn't we make the game a little easier if we can? If you still want to get the, you know, the control and the workability and the look of a blade, but why not get a little help? We can all make the game a little easier. So anyway, and I think a lot of people wouldn't know this either. And we can, you know, we got a lot to talk about. Can't do it today, but with you, everybody else, and these irons and what's best for you. But does anyone out there know like what your peak height of your 4 iron should be? Or if you even use a 4 iron, you probably shouldn't use it. You know what your peak height of your 7 iron should be? Peak height of your wedge. But you probably would tell me that your wedge should be higher, your 7 iron should be higher, and your 4 iron should be higher, right? Well, if you're fit properly and optimized, your peak height should be the same for every club. So mind blown, right? So so no one knows that, but that's what it should be. So it's just that your peak height's going to be reach the height quicker with a wedge, everything else. And you should have the problem with a lot of people, most people, when you get to whatever 6.5 4 iron, I can pretty much bet that those clubs are going the same distance. It's what we call bunching. They're bunched. In other words, your 6 iron goes about the same as your 5 iron, goes about the same as your 4 iron. So you got 3 clubs that go the same distance, because you don't have enough speed once you get up that to be able to hit that ball farther and higher. So if you're hitting your 7 iron a certain height, a certain distance, your 4 iron needs to be 15 miles an hour faster with ball speed, but it needs to be the same height. And if it's not, you need to get into a fairway wood or a hybrid or something else.
Oh, get that 7 wood, that 9 wood. Come on, IP.
Come on, 11 wood.
I took your advice and it changed my life, boy. Oh my God.
So anyway, and now these manufacturers with technology and things they can do incredible things with this launch forgiveness speed. They can put, you know, they can make these clubs just do anything they want. Now we've got these lofts, as you know, that's a whole nother segment, loft jacking, as I talk about. 7 irons are now 5 irons with loft because people want distance. I mean, it's just the way it is, you know.
Watch your jacking. Watch your jacking. IP, we're dragging ass. Let's get there. 19th hole, IP's hot takes on most important things in golf. Oh, let's get to it. 30 seconds on the clock. Let's get down. IP, your dream golf analyst. IP does not listen to analysts or hosts or play-by-play cats live, most in any sport, but definitely not in golf. But if you were inventing, sir, the dream golf analyst, what would he or she sound like?
They would at least tell me why something happened or why something is about to happen, rather than say, "Oh, that's a great shot." Okay, I can see that, right? Or this could be a really fiddly shot here. Why? You know, you need to tell me why. Give me some insight as to why this guy hit a 7 iron off this lie, or why he chunked it, or you know, or what Johnny Miller used to do when I used to listen. Tell me what he's going to do before he does it. Be careful.
Next topic.
He's chunking it. Tell me why.
Best golf course you've ever played.
That's a tough one. I played so many, but I think the whole thing with the mystique and everything, and being on the ocean and the you know, the vibe would probably have to be Seminole.
I'm with you. I'm
I
with
mean,
you.
there's a lot of great, but that's got the whole bag. So
We got to get back there. We got to get back
yeah,
there. Given a choice on a day where everything climate-wise gives you the option, slacks or shorts?
oh, if I can wear shorts, if it's warm enough to wear shorts, I'm wearing shorts. But I don't want you or anybody else wearing joggers though. That's my rule. No joggers.
Yeah, I'm a little too wide. I'm a little too wide for the joggers. But
Good. Don't wear them. Nobody should be wearing them. I don't want to see them.
No, he wants to fight people on those. Next topic. What's the most important thing? We kind of alluded to it a little bit when we were talking about putting, but the most important thing to identify the best putter for you.
Yeah, well, if you don't want to take a deep dive into getting fit, can you aim it? Do you have enough loft and all that? It just comes down to, how does it look and feel for you? You may not be able to aim it, but if it looks and feels good to you, some people like a big mallet head, others like a little blade, some people like like you say, it's got to look and feel good, so it gives you a good feeling so that you can putt well with it. Now, you do need to aim it correctly and all that, but yeah, just look and feel. How's it look? How's it feel? Fall in love with it.
Last topic, IP. You nailed that one, by the way. That's exactly 30 seconds. Last topic, your favorite drill. Pick one drill that you like to hone yourself on and give it to the people. Your favorite.
Okay, well, it would be putting, and Luke Donald did it back when he was number one. Because short putts matter way more than long putts. I'm going to go over 30 seconds on this, so we don't have the time. But you have to take 5 balls at a golf hole. Okay, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 feet. All different locations around the hole, and then you putt those. You do that 4 different locations, so you're looking at 20 balls. And then depending what your handicap is, most people, he had to make 16. But I would say from whatever, maybe it's 8, 9, or 10. So it gives you a different putt and a different look on every single putt. And short putts matter because tour players only make 50% of their 8-footers. And then it builds. So if you're supposed to make 8 before you go home and leave your practice, obviously when you get to the last, 5 and you've only made 3, you've got pressure to say, I got to make 3 or I got to start over. So it's the Luke Donald drill, 20 balls, 4 different hole locations, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 feet. And you got to make whatever. For me, I say I got to make 12 before I can go home.
IP, we've done it again. Special thanks to ESPN's Michael Eaves serving as our spotlight guest. Antoinette, Bryce, Matt, the back of house Get Down crew. We thank them. Next week, the PGA Tour gives us a little something to talk about as things open at Wailea, the Sony Open in Hawaii. Hello. Oh, my goodness. I got to get back to Hawaii. I haven't been there in 23 years. Before Jordan was born, I believe he was conceived there. That's my business. Anyway, Ian Page, Jason Jackson. We'll see you next week.
Yo.